Well, the theme parks is not going to the cats and the dogs. It's going to AI instead. And the Walt Disney World Resort, as well as Disneyland, getting ready to relieve their CMs, their cast members, of some of their duties. This is the first time we've seen this, folks, where AI is taking over the job of humans at Disney World and Disneyland. Here's the article out of wdwmagic.com. Disney's new AI system could speed up ride loading at Walt Disney World. Here's how it works. Headline's not big enough for what's happening here. I'll explain why. It says Disney has filed a new patent for a system that uses cameras and machine learning, aka artificial intelligence, to auto-magically verify that ride restraints are properly secured before a vehicle dispatches. If deployed at Walt Disney World, the technology could have a significant impact on ride loading times and overall throughput. It also could have an impact on theme parks like Universal Studios and the situation we've seen with rides such as Stardust Racers. We'll talk about why in just a second, but you can see here the patent shows a camera device on both sides of the vehicle. The person rides on in, sits on in the vehicle, and then the cameras are paying attention. They've got sensor devices attached to the ride, and the whole goal here is to remove the cast members, we suspect, to remove the cast members' need to go by and tug on those restraints and check the restraints. It's also, I believe, to remove the liability from cast members and to make this an automated process where guests are the ones who decide if they're going to ride. No guesswork anymore from the employees. It says published on April 23rd, 2026, U.S. patent application, U.S. 2026-0109-316A1 describes.
Wow.
I know, thank you. A system and method for verifying proper usage of passenger restraints. The system uses video cameras combined with machine learning models, AI, to analyze whether a passenger restraint, such as a seatbelt, lap bar, or over-the-shoulder restraint, is correctly securing a guest before the ride departs. This system is going to be able to use or detect using AI the passenger's body position and size, the type of restraint being used, whether the restraint is correctly securing the passenger. All right, let's talk about it. MJ, we've seen some issues with theme parks in terms of checking this. There's also the issue of, with lots of ladies and a male cast member comes by, got to be extra careful when you're trying to, make sure that you're tugging on the restraint and all that. You never want to brush up in any kind of way, in the wrong way. So I can see why Disney would want to do this, but the headlines are really not adequate for what we're seeing here. This is the first time that I know of that artificial intelligence will be replacing one of the major cast member roles at the parks if this happens. What do you think about it, MJ?
Oh, well, we're living in that world, that time. Everything is AI driven. And the more they can have AI or robots or whatever doing the job of a human to save money, they are going in that route, in that direction, which that's a whole nother conversation. But I still think traditionally, although dinosaur is now gone, but when we went on dinosaur for the last time, I'm using that example because when you put on the belt, you have to physically pull the yellow part, and the cast member is like, okay, pull it, and you have to do it in front of a human. So how would AI detect if you're tied in properly or strapped in or hoisted down or whatever you're using, a harness, I don't know, whatever kind of ride vehicle restraint system they're using. But I can't imagine how a system, like AI or any kind of motion detection can actually make sure and ensure you're tied in. You're not going to fly out of your ride vehicle during the motion, right? I don't see how that will work.
I think there's going to be a lot of cameras. I think they're going to do this just like with a vehicle, like a car that does all those checks and gives you the warnings if you're not buckled in the way you should be. So, Ron, your thoughts on this one? This is the first time we've ever seen AI take over. I have to say I'm probably not in favor of this one, simply because I do want the physical tug, the physical touch of a cast member checking the restraints. This matters so much, and yet I understand why the theme parks want out of the liability of it all. You've got the issue of guys trying to be up in, people's grills, but you also have the issue of what about, when somebody who is disabled wants to ride, and now we've got a human making a decision about whether or not you get on the ride. You get into sticky situations that we've seen before. Your thoughts on it, Ron?
I think it's all going to be fine until the machines become sentient and decide, for 10 years, wow, our AI systems have worked perfectly. There's not been a single guest hurt. And then the machines decide all at once.
Skynet releases the restraints.
So oh my God.
All the roller coasters go berserk.
Imagine.
No, it's, look, I have to suspect that if even once something like this would be implemented, they're going to have a cast member present,
Yeah.
or more than one cast member present to do it. It's like that. It's like when you check out. It's like when you check yourself out at the the Walmart and you use the machine yourself. There's still employees watching you do all that and making sure you don't steal or whatever. But I think there's got to be somebody that's going to be watching over it. So I would hope that this would be implemented as greater security. It might eliminate a number of cast members, like maybe they won't need as many. I look, I'll be honest with you, most of the time having to pull on the stupid yellow thing bothers me, and it's for like every ride, right? It's for like Soarin' and Test Track, and just thinking of all the different rides you have to pull on the yellow tag for.
Hmm.
It would be it would be nice to not have to do that, and it would be nice if the load and unload time were were quicker on a lot of these things. So I don't really, this is very difficult for me to say exactly how I feel about it until I kind of see how they plan on implementing it. Because I like so many of the things that AI can do. I in my own neighborhood, and I'm not sure how much AI is involved in this and how much just other technology is, but those Waymo vehicles, the vehicles that are operated without a driver. I was looking the other day at the map, and the area that they serve literally cuts off one street before where I live. So I can't get in one, but it's in the area that I'm driving around. And now I see at least one every single time I run errands. And oftentimes I'll see two or three or four. So they're getting out there a lot more. And that's literally a car on the road without a driver. So, the things that.
So let's talk about that, Ron. Let's talk about what other positions might be cut. And I'm not advocating for this in the least.
Mm-mm.
But let's talk about if because this is not being covered correctly. And I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody who's doing the coverage. If you just cover it from the standpoint of, okay, here's a new system for checking guests and their restraints. That's not the story. The story here is this is the first time we've seen Disney implement AI overtly at the parks to cut out something that cast members were doing. So then what does my mind go to? If this works, if nobody does any pushback, and I'm not recommending one way or the other, what are the next jobs that cast members might lose? And I think instantly, just like you're talking about Waymo, I think the trams. Mm-hmm. Why in the world would you have both people running the trams if the driver for the tram can be completely automated? And then I think about other stuff too, right? So I can go through the list, but Ron, what do you think about some of these other positions that I think could be cut by AI and may be cut by AI?
They've done it in the past. When you think about it, what used to happen on the tram, on the train, on a lot of those things before, they used to have a live cast member spieling that script.
Right, Living with the Land had that. Yep.
Right. And they eliminated all of those as soon as they realized, hey, a recording will do the same job just fine. So yeah, it's in the best interest of the company to save money, and employees have the highest cost, which I got to say, it really doesn't have anything to do with this, but couldn't we get AI to replace Jimmy Kimmel?
AI would be funnier. MJ, one of the things that I don't want to see servers lose their jobs. I don't want to see, as much as I think Optimus is cool, I don't want to see little robots or automated trays that come out to your table and you just pick it up. And I've seen this before. This is not that would not be amazing to me because there's a sushi restaurant near where I live, and it has robotic servers, and they come out with a tray and you pick up the tray off the thing and the robot goes off. So this is happening. It's been happening. I hope though that Disney will remember that there is, well, the magic comes from the cast members, and also some of the worst experiences can come from a cast member, but that's few and far between these days. It was worse a couple of years ago, but the magic really does come from the cast, MJ.
Absolutely. And, I look at it differently from a different perspective. So most of you guys can just get in a ride vehicle in and out right freely. But like you mentioned something pro that struck me. I was like, you know what? it does it does play a big factor when you're dealing with people that have mobility issues and they're trying to board these ride vehicles. It will hold up the line a lot longer. For example, Nemo, if you're in a wheelchair and you cannot get out of your wheelchair, they will load you into one of those ride vehicles with your chair, but it puts the whole ride at a stop. And I want to remind people to always keep that in mind when they're going to theme parks. Try to be patient, because even though the ride is stopped, it's not always technical issues or, cast members giving someone a hard time, or people giving a hard time. It's someone with a mobility issue getting loaded into a ride vehicle so they can have a fun time just like you are. So I just wanted to bring that up. But I really am curious about the future in ride vehicles for people with disabilities and people without disabilities. How are they going to ensure that we will be safe and enjoy the ride while we're visiting at the theme park, no matter which one it is?
That's right. And safety comes first. So if this helps improve safety, I'm all for that. I just hope Disney uses it in the right way. Technology is great. It can also be used to do things that we're not elated about. So Disney, get it right, and we'll support you. We'll celebrate you. But this is momentous. It is historic. Take note of it, folks. Don't fall for the headlines that simply tell you it's some sort of new restraining order. This is the first time we've ever seen the Disney parks bring in the ability to use AI. Ron, what do you have that smile about? What did I say, Ron?
You said a restraining order.
Well,
Did he say restraining order?
Listen, there may be a restraining order, but only for fellows who are hiding out in the Columbia Harbor House restrooms.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.